Gentlemen, before we start our meeting tonight, we're going to have David Slider up from Grace First Presbyterian Church. Welcome back, sir. You're a staple in our meetings. We're awful thankful for you. Will you lead us in prayer, sir?
Yes, sir. Let us pray. Gracious God, we just thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for fall finally getting here. It won't last long, but hopefully, Lord, after next couple of days it will be. And Lord, you have given us creation to enjoy. We just pray that we would enjoy it when it is like this, Lord. And you want us to be good stewards of that, Lord. And we also know that you want to be this council to be good stewards of the time and the energies that they are gifted with each meeting. And we just pray that you would be with them as they make decisions this evening. Give them wisdom and guidance as they continue to guide our city. We pray these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir, for being here. Item 2 on the agenda is a call of meeting to order and announce we have a quorum. We will go into a regular session. We do have a quorum present. Item 3 is pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags. Jeff Robinson, will you lead us, sir?
If you would please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item 4 on the agenda is items of community interest. City Manager?
Yes, sir. I have a few things. Of course, with falls coming, it's in the air, and we have a lot of fall activities, so I encourage everyone to go on our website and look. We have a haunted hayride coming up on the 19th at Heritage Park. Meet Me at the Park will be also at Heritage Park on the 24th. So a lot of cool things going on. And also we'll be having a ribbon cutting for the roundabout at Weatherford College very soon, so it is almost time to set the coyotes. And I think Mr. Cleveland has something.
Kevin Cleveland.
Yes, sir. So last Tuesday, the Weatherford Chamber of Commerce had their 99th annual banquet, which is quite impressive in itself to know that they've been around for almost 100 years. Their banquet was there to honor local businesses and then participation from the community in the chamber. We are honored tonight to have 3 award winners from that banquet sitting up here tonight at the dais. And so I want to take a moment to mention each of those. Curtis Tucker was awarded Ambassador of the Year. There's about 25 ambassadors, if I'm correct, that I don't know if you guys have ever been to a ribbon cutting, but there are multiples of them every week. And there is a same core group that is showing up day in and day out for these to support new businesses, existing businesses that maybe moved or changed doors or just hadn't had a grand opening and joined the chamber. So Curtis has attended a vast majority of those. I see him out there all the time, and he was awarded as the Chamber's Ambassador of the Year, which is pretty impressive. So thank you, Curtis. We also had our wonderful mayor received a pretty prestigious award. He received the Citizen of the Year award. Citizen of the Year award has been around for, since 1953, and it was presented to Douglas Shandor at the first one, which is pretty impressive to know that our mayor is following in the likes of Shandor Gardens, and I would say I have to agree with that assessment. He is a pillar of our community. He represents the business side of our community well. He represents the public side and the citizens as well.
But I'm not an artist. Let's get that on the record, right?
But we're very honored to have you as part of our group and think that award fell in the place where it needed to. And then lastly, but definitely not leastly, Sharon Hayes was awarded the Athena Award. The Athena Award has been around since 1982 and has been presented to around 8,000 recipients in 500 communities in 8 different countries. This award is honored for professional excellence, community service, and actively assisting women in reaching their full leadership potential. And Sharon has expressed that or shown that like nobody I've met before. Sharon has started from the bottom of this city and she has worked her way through it and she has ended at the top. There is no better example of hard work getting you where you need to go than Sharon. She's an extremely intelligent woman and proud to have worked with her. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
We're all
Appreciate that.
proud to work with you.
You know, I'm going to comment on that, and Sharon Hayes, there's no doubt. I mean, when the Athena Award, you are that award. Curtis Tucker, I think you and I got a lot of people fooled.
I agree.
Item 5 on the agenda, presentations and proclamations. 5A is update from county judge on the use of sales tax for economic development. Sharon Hayes, you lead us into that?
I will. We had requested that Judge Dean come forward or come tonight to kind of talk to us a little bit about some of the opportunities that we have. And Judge Dean is back there, so if you would come forward.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Just for the record, if you could identify yourself and so.
Well, I was going to say something I'm glad you said that because I was going to lead into somewhat of a joke. I'm Pat Dean. I'm the Parker County Judge. I was actually sworn in September 7th of last year, 2018. And it's been a privilege, and I want to first thank you all for the opportunity to be your county judge. And I look at this screen here, and I've had 3 of you ask me, do I have a presentation to bring? And the answer I have told each of you is no. I do not have. I think what this, and this has been brought up now for some time now, and I was in municipal government, and Jeff, I shared that with you, and it was a privilege to do so, that it's a valid question that's been brought up. And being the last 20 years, or prior to the last year I was as a county judge, I was in municipal government, 12 years as a mayor, and then 7 years as a council member, then 2 years as a P&Z chair, and then on the P&Z. The question is a valid question, especially in today's economy and today's climate that we're in, that you're accountable to your constituents on what you do with the money that you have. You spend several $1 million, you get several $1 million of the sales tax that you work very hard for. And today, I was actually here earlier with an economic development opportunity with your staff. And one of the focuses that I have as I came in and as I campaigned on was economic development. And so I would be asking the same question, and would have actually asked the same question back as a mayor, is the half-cent sales tax that the county get. It's not uncommon in Texas. We have 254 counties, and about 123 of those get some form of sales tax in the state of Texas. And I have reached out to those county judges, and what do you do? How does that collaboration work? How do you invest those dollars back into the community? Because that is a sensitive deal. And then even researching even further back, that was done in an effort, an agreement for the county to participate in generating new sales tax revenue, working with the cities, and bringing businesses to the county. That's the history of this, of how this started out. I can tell you this, that when I was sworn in, and I was specific why I wanted to say why I was sworn in September 7th of 2018, we immediately began the process of developing and researching and putting an abatement together, which we did not have. And by December of that year, I was in office about 3 months, and then we adopted the abatement policy that we did not have at that time. We have since used that abatement policy once. We're in the process of there's an application, actually 2 more that's coming, that we will hear again. And so we've approved 1, and there's 2 more coming that I think and I can't speak for the court, but are very good candidates for that. So we'll probably have 3 within the coming months as well. And then in January, we also adopted a 381 agreement in collaboration with the city of Weatherford, and I believe also the WISD, in terms of a Freeport exemption, trying to match that and get that done on a recruitment of a very high-end company. So it is the concern, I guess, the key point here is you're asking the right questions. And Mayor Pascal, if I was in your shoes, or if I was a council member, I would be asking the very same question to the county. What are you doing? Because essentially, here's the reality of what we're facing today. We get over $7 million of sales tax revenue from the hard work that you guys put out, from Springtown to Aledo to Hudson Oaks to Weatherford, and now Brock and others that are coming on in Peaster who need sales tax, is giving a half a cent of that up to us. And what are we doing with that? I cannot speak for the past, nor will I any type of criticism at all towards that. All I can speak with is today, right now, going forward. I am accountable to you as well as the court for those dollars that come to us. And that's an education that I don't think we quite understand as a commissioner's court, and we have not had that conversation, quite frankly, and we will in the coming months, and we're actually in the coming weeks, about what I'm here talking to you today about in terms of how those dollars, and I think the reality of it is that we get those dollars and they come in and we put them in our general fund as M&O, and we use that as part of our budget. And this year, the first budget that we did was a bit of a challenge. And so this makes it even more sensitive to me that those dollars that we get, we need to, I'm going to speak on your side of this a little bit here, and because I understand municipal government very well. We're all in this together, okay? I think until we change the dynamics of how we look at economic development, because retail is not sustainable over time, it costs money to bring retail in, to bring in high-wage job growth with incomes that are good, that will have a multiplying effect through our economy, will have a significant impact on how we generate revenue for our county and get taxes off our residents back. We're in this together. I want to use those dollars the best way we can. We're not always going to agree, and Sharon, you know that, we've talked about that. But I do want to be a partner with you. Paul, you and I have had breakfast several times, that we're in this together. We're working together. We're building a coalition of collaboration with all the cities. And the direction of where we're going today, I can tell you this: are we going to reinvest all $7 million back? Of course not. We can't. That's not going to happen. But can we be a viable partner with you in many, many ways? Rather than just not only just spending the money and reinvesting this back in an abatement program and using those dollars in areas where we can reinvest to get those dollars and value on the ground to get taxes off our backs and work together to generate more revenue for Weatherford. I'm committing you today that that's exactly what we intend to do and what I intend to take back to the court. So again, we're in this together. We do get about $7 million. I know about $900,000 comes from the city of Hudson Oaks, a little town east of here. Millions of dollars, the majority of that is obviously coming from who? City of Weatherford. You're asking the right questions. I'm accountable in front of you here today, and I can tell you this, that I can't speak for where we come from, but I can tell you this, that one of the biggest things for me is economic development. I spent, 2 hours today here already for that very thing, and I gave no notice in bringing this group in here to talk to you today, and I'll continue to do that. And a lot of what I do is economic development, and we're going to continue to do that. But those dollars that I guess the key of this is those dollars that we are getting, it is my intent to reinvest. And I can't say that we're going to reinvest it all, but I do want to continue with aggressive abatement programs where it makes sense, where you have high wage jobs, where you have good insurance, those type of companies that we want to come in that's going to change the dynamics of economic development. But I'm not willing to, just to be honest as well, I'm not willing to do a TERS on a retail project yet. That needs to be talked about more. There's going to be some areas where we don't agree on, of course. But when it comes to high wage job growth, I definitely want to participate in every way we can to work together with every city in this county.
Well,
And I know there's going to be questions
there may be, but before we take questions, I want to thank you for being here. I think, as I've seen you do, as a council, we've seen you do, is you stepped up and where situations can be not difficult, but new conversations, if you will. You've been willing and shown the courage to step up and had that, and tonight's a perfect example of that. So thank you for being here. I think council may have some questions. What I'd like to ask you to consider is, would you consider reporting back to us in October of 2020 with a report that shows us data specifically to projects where dollars have been, from that sales tax money, been incorporated back into the county for economic development?
Even before that, yes. To ask your question, yes, I would. I would be happy to do that, and even prior to that, because there's a lot of things happening that's going to require us working together as we have been. And even your assistant city manager, myself, and the Economic Development Council representative went to Austin together in a recruitment process. So I want to add this also to the discussion, is that it's not just also the revenue, but it's the commitment from the county, including myself, whether it's working a weekend with somebody flying in. There's an Australian company that we got. There's another one coming. There's one we're working on. There's several things right now in the pipeline that the county is heavily involved with that is taking time to do that, and I will continue to do that. That's my commitment. But from a financial standpoint, I will tell you this, that it is going to take a much more forward-thinking approach by the Commissioners Court to do that. And it's no knock on any of us. It's just the fact that we have not emphasized that, because I don't think we have put the understanding of the value of what it is to work together to bring those opportunities, because it's better to get, if we do an abatement for 50%, it's better to get 50% of something rather than not participate, lose that opportunity, and continue to go down the road that we've been going down and not get some of these opportunities. Going back to my old roots here, Parker County is open for business, and we've shown that. We're going to continue to show that. And I'm excited about where the future holds. I welcome these opportunities and these questions, these forums, and I'm happy to provide that report to you. You bet.
Questions for County Judge Dean? Comments?
I do have one, and I appreciate what you said and I appreciate you being here tonight. But a message I think I would like you to take back to the commissioners is that the residents of Weatherford, they're in the city of Weatherford and they pay their city taxes, but we also fall into their jurisdiction in the county, and the residents of Weatherford pay the same county taxes that the residents of the county pay. And sometimes I think residents of the city go, why aren't we paying county taxes on top of our city taxes, and vice versa? So it's just that we would love to see them represent the people that live in the city limits as well as the people outside, and spend the money both ways.
Your point is well taken, and this is something that has been brought up and has been brought up in a lot of training when I've gone on these judicial training seminars and talking to other county judges. The point is well taken. For you to live in the county, which we all do, you pay road and bridge, and I'll preface this with, this was a challenging year for us on road and bridge to allocate those dollars necessary, especially in Precinct 4 and Precinct 1, where a lot of the density is growing. In Precinct 1 alone, there's 47 subdivisions going in as we speak. And so to keep up with that, we're challenged with that in terms of the road and bridge dollars. Your point is well taken, because you live in the city as well in the county, which we're all in. You pay road and bridge dollars, and you can ask your precinct commissioner, and me for that matter, are those dollars being also spent in your precinct? And the answer is no, they're not. The counter with that would be, they'll be spent on those arterial roads where you will be driven. That's going to be the response to that, and rightly so. But your point is taken very well, Jeff, in that we have an obligation, in my opinion, to, if you're spending those dollars from road and bridge, there's an argument to be made, should they also be spent in those respective areas that happen to also fall into the city under a development program. I would like to see that move towards that. The challenge we have today is that we're stretched on our road and bridge right now, because my intent was to try to push some of that money out and give another penny or two to the road and bridge. The problem was that we had a fund deficit that we had to deal with. It was substantial. And so didn't know that. We're dealing with it now. We're going in the right direction, and my intent long term would be to work with these commissioners and at least make the argument that your point's well taken, because throughout the state, there's time and time again, and I've learned through these training seminars, that whether you're in the city or you're all in the county and you're all paying the road and bridge dollars, and are those dollars going back into the city? No, they're not right now. Your point's well taken, sir.
Next question. Anybody? Comment?
I have one.
Yep. Mayor Pro Tem?
You go ahead.
I just had comments more so than anything. Number one, thank you for coming. Greatly appreciated. The fact that you're here speaks volumes to the fact that Weatherford and the county are speaking better than they've ever spoke, and I think that is phenomenal. The communication is great, and it's spreading through everything from the college to the school district. It's a really good time to be in Parker County, and I thank you for being here. I also just want to say thank you for economic development is not something to be feared, and I've heard a lot of fear on the county level of economic development, and it is. Economic development is a danger to your way of life if you live out and you have 200 acres. It does threaten your way of life to some degree. The city of Weatherford is not set up for 200-acre farms. The city of Weatherford is, like you said, it's open for business. It's here for business, it's here for job creation, and then if you want to go out in the county and live on your 200-acre farm, that should be protected as well. And sometimes there's a disconnect between the understanding that you can promote from a county level economic development within the city without negatively affecting the growth patterns in the county and provide the people that are out in the county as well as in the city better jobs, better opportunities, career paths instead of jobs. And that comes from economic development. So I want to thank you for opening that mindset and that concept up and the understanding that you have, that you're spreading, that economic development are not wasted dollars, they're invested dollars, and they should be weighed and looked at on a return of investment type idea. You put it in, and that's the only thing that is going to offset the continued debate of property tax. You have to do something for economic development if you want to release that burden off the citizens, and I appreciate the fact that you understand that and that you've been talking about it.
Can I respond to that?
Absolutely, sir. The floor is yours.
Just to share what, and again, I preface this with what my vision is, because I'd like to say it more of a community vision, because what we did, we have over 200, when we did our strategic plan, the first one that we've ever done in the county, is we got over 200 responses back through the town hall meetings that we did. What is your vision? Because the key of this is to not create a vision from the Commissioners Court, but to create a community-wide vision from what the people that we represent, what was important to them. And number one was maintaining the rural integrity of our county. We can do that. And when I talk about bringing high-wage job growth and industry to Parker County, it's in those segments and those areas that we can accommodate where we have capacity. And Weatherford is a big player in that, because you have water, you have electricity, you have the capacity to do those things. But there are areas out there that we can bring those without jeopardizing what you just said, is maintaining the rural integrity of this county, and I do not intend to hurt that. But I think we can balance this both, and being, like my daughter lives in Victoria, and if you go out there, you pass, now it's a whole different situation out there, the density is nowhere near this, but you can pass a Dow Chemical and then go into a very rural, where the rural integrity is maintained in nice residential neighborhoods. The same concept can exist here by bringing in industry that brings 60% of our workforce, y'all know this, goes east, okay? It would be better to have our kids stay locally and have those type of jobs that would keep them here locally and still maintain that identity of who Parker County is. So, no, thank you for that.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Did you have anything else? Thank you, first of all, for being here, and I have to just thank you and the commissioners for the increased funding to the library, because I think that's a leg of service that economic growth can benchmark the services that we provide, the county provides, bring people here. So thank you and the commissioners for that increased funding to the library, because I believe that is a core leg of Parker County and the city of Weatherford. Having said that, can you expand, or I'm a very visual person, number visual person, I guess being an accountant, that's just in my nature. So could you expound for me the path that we can measure the partnerships and commitments that we have with each other, given the current barriers that you face as the county judge and as the commissioners face?
Well, that's a deep question, and I think what comes to mind very quickly is changing the culture. We get a new mindset of in coming in, and I'm blessed to have a good commissioners court that is open-minded, adaptable. I mean, I've clearly challenged them. I mean, we've done a strategic plan, we've done an abatement policy, we passed a 381 agreement. They've been very open-minded to look at and being more being forward-thinking, and so, because I'm going to continue to push that. Your question it's a deep one, because I think what it's going to require is a change in culture of embedding ourselves and understanding that we are working in every way possible as a team. We're in this together. Your wins are our wins, and vice versa. But I think it's going to take more of whether it's establishing committees or some type of forums that we can do together to start bridging that a little bit more than what it is right now. We have a long way to go. When I came in, I mean, it was, there is no relationship. I mean, there was nothing here in terms of how we work together and how we collaborate. And I think a lot of it starts with, and Paul and I, we've been friends for years, but you have to establish, and I think we trust each other, but you have to have that trust to work on. And if you do not establish the trust to build that on and go forward, then you're not going to get where you need to go with this. But I think what we need is to build a continued teamwork approach to this and working together in every way possible and improving the communication between us together, whether that's coming together, and Mr. Hotop has also mentioned he wants to come and talk about some things with the court. Those are the type of things, and asking me to come back in 2020, I'm happy to come back anytime and even before then to update you with things that we're doing and working together that's going to benefit and be not only for Parker County, but also for Weatherford. I'm not quite sure I'm answering your question. Is there,
Well, I would like to see, and this is just me, I would like,
Dashboard. Don't say dashboard.
no, I was just, there are ways for whether that be you and Paul sit down, there are ways to measure commitment. In other words, ways to define what our commitment can be. You have substantial barriers.
Right.
There is no doubt about that. And that is a time thing that only can be dealt with over time. And I'm aware of that. I just want to make sure that we clearly show people, whether that be financially what we've invested or whether that be a commitment of a partnership agreement over time, whatever that is. I would like to be able to find a measure to judge ourselves by how we're doing and how well we're working together.
I like the way, the subjective part of that, of being able to come back and then measure that. And an example would be is a company that is coming into Weatherford's proper city limit, to where this is a collaborative effort. We've had those opportunities. We're continuing to work with those opportunities to where the county is committing to an abatement or to an incentive to bring them together and then and partner with Weatherford on that to whatever degree we can, not only financially, but also from a resource standpoint. We will continue to do that. But I like the approach of that to where we can come back. And I'll be very straightforward with you, Councilmember Wilder, that I don't have the answer to that yet, and that's not a bad thing, because as we continue to build our partnership and our relationship together, we're going to unfold these opportunities and learn to work together like we've never done before. But I will tell you this, that the attitude of the Commissioners Court and the attitude of myself, and somebody said this earlier, and I was going to close on this, and I'll just say this now, that it is resonating through this entire county where we're all working together. And whether it was the HEB opening and Paul came, and whether it was the Weatherford College and partnering with Hardin Simmons, I mean, all these things and everybody coming together is really resonating through this community. And I even heard it at the chamber event at the banquet, how that was being done. And so that will continue to be done. That was a commitment that I made coming into office, and we're going to continue that. But we don't know yet how to define that partnership until we have these opportunities come up, and we'll continue to work together on a regular basis. I'm typically up here bugging your staff, but and I say that jokingly when I gave you a 30-minute notice that we're showing up today. But I will continue to do that, hopefully with more notice, but continue to work with your staff as one and working together. But look at me as an extension of, and this is the same with every other city in the county, but look at me as an extension of your staff and working together and bringing opportunities to you and to the county that benefit us, but will bring opportunities to you as a city. Those are investments back to, whether it's financially or whether it's from every resource we have, to continue to identify what those opportunities are to bring those to you.
Judge Dean, I think the measurement is dollars, to be specific. And I think that y'all will bring us opportunities forward, and I think that in the next months, we're going to bring y'all opportunities to participate. And the relationship is building and it's there, but the commitments that happen in the next 9 to 12 to 15 months are important, and they will be commitments that'll be able to be measured in potential economic growth or financial participation. And I think at the end of the day, based on the contribution that we're making through sales tax, we have to show our constituents some return on their investment from the county on that. And I think that's really what we're talking about today. I know that that's what you're committed to.
Well, and I want to, again, I don't want to talk too long here, but I want to commend you all for that, because what this says is that your constituents put the right people in those chairs for the accountability to come back to me and say, and just to clarify for the audience, is that the county gets over $7 million a year from the half-cent sales tax from all the cities in Parker County for all the hard work that y'all do. we take that money, and I'm being very straightforward, and we put it right into our general fund and our M&O, and we live on it, okay? That's off the hard work and off the backs of you guys and the work that you guys have done, which has done a fabulous job in economic development. Where's the accountability that we give back? My commitment is to go back to the court, because quite frankly, we haven't had this discussion, because in reality, what you have the option, and I believe it's to go to the voters and just say, we want that half-cent back, and take that actually, and if that got yanked from us, that's a $7 million yank from the county, and figuring out where we're going to get that money back. And we have the ability to raise taxes to recoup that. We don't want to do that. And I'm not even used to taxing people until this year in office. But it's never going to come to that, because we're going to show that commitment back to you, Paul, in terms of what you talked about, or Mayor Pascal, that measured in dollars through a multiplying effect through the opportunities that we're going to bring here with economic development will benefit us way beyond that you will get back in the dollars that you're giving to the county.
Fully believe that, sir.
I can assure you of that.
Before we wrap up, any other questions for the county judge? Comments?
I don't really have a question, just a comment. I appreciate everything that you're saying, everything that I've heard tonight, because one of the things, long before I was on the council, one of the things that I really felt like I wanted to see is a greater level of cooperation between the different entities that make up our community, like city and county. And to see us be able to work together like this, it's very good, and I appreciate that, and appreciate you being here tonight.
Well, thank you. I'll close with it. I've never seen such a great group of leaders, both community-driven, the community leaders out in the community, the elected officials right now, everybody's working together, and I look forward. And this is really just the beginning, quite honestly.
Judge Dean, you're a courageous
Thank you.
man. We respect you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was a great presentation.
We want PowerPoint next time, though.
Item 6 on the agenda is approval of the minutes. 6A, consider approval of the minutes of the city council meeting held September 24th, 2019. Any discussion before we call for a motion? Hearing none, we'll call for a motion at this time. Motion by Kevin Cleveland, a second on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Wilder. Any discussion before we call for a vote? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote at this time. Indicate yea or nay, please. Minutes passed unanimously. Item 7, consent agenda items. Council, there is item 7A, B, C, D, E, and F. Do we need to pull any of those out individually? Hearing none, we will entertain a motion at this time. Motion by Curtis Tucker for approval, second by Kevin Cleveland. Any discussion before we call for a vote? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote at this time on consent items. Indicate yea or nay at this time, please. Consent agenda items pass unanimously. Item 8, regular agenda items. 8A is consider a request for waivers only from certain requirements of the Weatherford Municipal Code Title 11 Subdivision Ordinance, including Section 11-3-9A, connection to city's water system, Section 11-3-9B, connection to city's wastewater collection and treatment system, and Section 11-5-9A, improvement to a substandard perimeter street for a 3-lot Luxinger Park minor plat, being 3.293 acres at 1826 through 1834 North Main Street in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Weatherford, Parker County, Texas, SBD 2019-0042. Welcome, Mr. Kettner.
Mayor and council members, as you have in your packet, you have the complete staff report that outlines this request for the plat for this 3-lot subdivision at the request of Melvin Freisinger and Lucky Drew. This went before the Planning Commission at their September 25th meeting, which was voted unanimously with all 5 members that were present to approve this request with the 3 conditions outlined in your staff report. Any questions? I'd be glad to go over any of those.
Questions for Mr. Kettner on 8A? Discussed quite thoroughly in your presentation packet. Hearing none, we'll call for a motion at this time on 8A.
Motion to approve with the 3 waivers.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Cleveland for approval with 3 waivers, second by Mr. Curtis Tucker. Any discussion before we call for a vote? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote at this time on 8A. Indicate yea or nay, please, at this time. 8A passes unanimously. 8B, consider a final plat for the 75-lot Silverstone at Pearson Ranch Phase 7, being 30 acres situated in the T&P Railroad Company survey, abstract number 1499, City of Weatherford, Parker County, Texas, SBD 2019-0044. Welcome, sir. Welcome back.
Mayor and council members, we have the 75-lot subdivision totaling 30 acres at the request of the applicant Lackland Innsbruck Incorporated for their final plat. You have the complete staff report in your packet. The suggested actions by the Planning Commission was unanimously recommended approval with the following single condition that is included in your packet. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to go over those items with you.
Question from Mr. Kettner on 8B. Hearing none, we'll call for a motion at this time. There's a motion for approval by Jeff.
Yes,
Mr. Robinson, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say with the condition.
Motion for approval by Jeff Robinson with the stated condition. Second by Curtis Tucker as presented. Any discussion on the item before we call for a vote? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote this time on 8B. Please indicate yea or nay. 8B passes unanimously. 8C on the agenda is consider a final plat for the 124-lot Lockwood Phase 4 addition in the 2600 block of Cosby Road and described as being 31.159 acres, City of Weatherford, Parker County, Texas, SBD 2019-0036.
Mayor and council, this is the request for the Lockwood Phase final plat, which contains 124 lots, 31.1 acres. This went before the Planning Commission and was recommended unanimously from all five present with the two conditions outlined in the staff report.
Questions from Mr. Kettner on item 8C?
I have one question.
Mayor Pro Tem?
The condition number 2, which that ensures the HOA is to maintain the public open spaces property, how is that enforced if they don't do that?
Actually, that's one that we won't record the plat until they provide that. And actually, on this case, they've actually already provided that to us, so that we do have that.
Okay, so it isn't a prior to, it's an already done.
Yeah, it was a requirement by the Planning Commission, and they already presented that. Since we didn't have that information at the time we prepared the staff reports for you, we didn't have that information.
Okay.
It was still a condition, and it still is a condition that they provide.
So an HOA is an enforceable document?
It's not enforceable by us. It's part of our requirements because they have open space. They need to show who's going to maintain that and take care of those properties. And that's the reason for showing proof that they're going to have an HOA that's going to maintain those open space, because those aren't going to be maintained or taken care of by the city.
I just remember we did have a complaint prior on one subdivision, and I want to make sure that was taken care of here.
Comfortable with
Great
this?
question.
I'm good with that.
Other
Thank
questions
you.
or comments on item 8C? Hearing none, we'll call for a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion to accept the final plat with the two requirements, conditions.
Motion by Curtis Tucker for approval of the item with the two conditions. A second by Jeff Robinson as stated. Correct, Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on item 8C before we call for a vote? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote at this time. Indicate yea or nay, please. 8C passes unanimously. 8D is consider a final plat for the 27-lot Mariah Farms Estate subdivision, described as being 59.224 acres, located on Tin Top Road and situated in the J.J. Briscoe Survey, abstract number 60, and the R.S. Green Survey, abstract number 543, in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the City of Weatherford, Parker County, Texas, SBD 2019-0041.
Mayor and council, this is the request for the final plat for the Mariah Farms. As noted, you have the complete staff report in your packet. This is for 27 lots totaling 59.224 acres. The applicant is Mariah Farms Estates, LLC. This did go before the Planning Commission and voted unanimously for approval with the three conditions as outlined in the staff report. on their September 25th, 2019 meeting. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to.
Questions for staff on item 8D, council? Hearing none, we'll call for a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion to accept the final plat with the 3 conditions that have been added to it.
Motion on the floor by Curtis Tucker for approval of item 8D with the 3, conditions. Second on the floor by Jeff Robinson as presented.
Yes.
Any discussion on the item before we call for a vote? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote this time. Indicate yea or nay, please. Item 8D passes unanimously. Mr. Kettner, just a compliment, your approach, presentation is efficient, and it is appreciated, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 8E on the agenda is discuss and consider nominations for positions on the Parker County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Sharon Hayes.
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, this is something that we look at every 2 years, and in your packet, we have a letter from Parker County Appraisal District. And so we do have the opportunity to nominate folks if we want to nominate someone other than those that are on there. So in your packet is a list of the folks that are currently serving on there. We normally do not do that, and we normally go with what WISD does. We only have about 250 votes out of about 5,000. So as a rule, we do not do that. But if the council wants to, tonight we need to do it. We have to do it before October 15th. If you're comfortable with the folks that are on there, then the next opportunity we would have would be to look at this would be in December when we vote on these folks.
Questions for city staff on the recommendation? Hearing none, this is not an action item, correct?
That's all. We just need direction.
Okay. Any deviation of course? I want to change anything? Are we good to carry on?
I'm comfortable with the list that's presented, and I've asked around and I've got no real interest. That's not one of them boards people are just fighting to get on right now, so.
Isn't that the truth? Anybody else?
I'm good.
Right, item 8F, discuss and consider city council holiday meeting schedule for November, December of 2019. Sharon Hayes.
Well, this is also something that we do this time of year, but each year when we get into November, December, we always want to ask the council what your preference is with respect to holiday meetings. Quite often, if we stick to the regular second and fourth Tuesday, then we do run into Christmas and Thanksgiving. Also, sometimes during the holidays, we see workload also diminish a little bit with respect to some of the plats coming forward and things. So what we have in your packet is a calendar for both November and December, and we have a couple of things on there. We're showing in November that we would have proposed to have the council meeting on the 12th, which is the second Tuesday. If need be, and that's if plats come in or something else comes up that needs to be addressed, then we could have one also the following Tuesday on the 19th. So the 12th would be the meeting, and then the 19th we would just put on your calendar as a kind of a holder in the event that is needed. December, we would do much the same thing, propose that the council meeting be on the 10th, which again is the second Tuesday. We would also recommend that we hold the 17th open in the event that we need to have a meeting. And anyway, if the council is comfortable with that, then we will set those times, and if not, then we will certainly go with whatever y'all prefer.
Seems like a great plan to me, council. Any deviations from the plan staff's laid
I
out?
don't have any deviations. I will say it's probably going to work for best for the crowd. For me, I'm actually going to be out of the country that whole week of the 11th, so I'm sure you guys are sharp enough to do this without me. So
November or December?
November.
November.
Just want to know I'm not invited to go too.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think it's a good plan.
I'm great with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right.
And we will set that up on y'all's calendars.
Wonderful. Item 9 on the agenda is future agenda items. City manager,
No, sir.
council.
No, sir.
Item 10, executive session items. 10A, pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code VTCS, open meetings law in accordance with the authority contained in number 1, Section 551071, consultation with the city's attorney to seek advice on the following matters: eminent domain actions for the acquisition of easements for the construction and maintenance of a reclaimed water pipeline from the water reclamation facility to Lake Weatherford, and for other public purposes permitted by law. And number 2, Section 551071, consultation with attorney pending or contemplated litigation, cause number CV 17-1683, Ed Kramer versus IESI Texas Landfill LP, and number 3, section 551072, deliberation regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property to be acquired for easements for the construction and maintenance of a reclaimed water pipeline from the water reclamation facility to Lake Weatherford, and number 4, section 551072, deliberation regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, approximately .220 acres, Yeoman subdivision, block 11, Yeoman addition, addressed as 212 Jack Borden Way, and number 5, section 551074, personnel matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, city manager. Council, we'll hear number 5 first in executive session in the East Conference Room. We will adjourn into executive session at 7:16 p.m. Section 11, Item 4. Indicate yea or nay at this time, please.
Oh, is there? Okay.
That is a unanimous vote. Was there a procedural error there? Okay. I'm not beyond an error. Hadn't made one yet tonight, but we're not done yet. Any other action on items under 11 before we proceed to regular agenda items?
Yes, I have one on item number 11, item number 3. And I would like to make a motion that the City Council of Weatherford authorize the use
What?
of...
That, we need to do that under 12A.
Okay.
My fault, Mr. Robinson. Am I okay to proceed?
Apologize.
It's okay. Am I okay to proceed to item 12? Regular agenda items, 12A. Consider the use of eminent domain to condemn property or consider resolution R2019-26, authorizing the filing of an eminent domain proceedings for the purpose of obtaining the necessary easement for construction and maintenance of a reclaimed water pipeline across property from the water reclamation facility to Lake Weatherford and for other public purposes permitted by law. Any discussion on the item before we call for a motion? Hearing none, Mr. Robinson.
All right. I move that the City Council of the City of Weatherford authorizes the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire the utility and temporary construction easements described in resolution number R 2019-26 as presented specifically. A 0.181 acre utility easement on property described in volume 1709, page 838, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibit A 0.170 acre utility easement and a 0.227 acre temporary construction easement on property described in volume 1885, page 587, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibits B and C. A 0.006 acre utility easement and a 0.003 acre temporary construction easement on property described in volume 500, page 49, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibits D and E. A 0.38 acre utility easement and a 0.040 acre temporary construction easement on property described in volume 524, page 482, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibits F and G. A 0.130 acre utility easement and a 0.129 acre temporary construction easement on property described in volume 1574, page 1666, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibits H and I. A 0.082 acre utility easement and a 0.082 acre temporary construction easement on property described in volume 2245, page 1100, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibits J and K. A 0.105 acre utility easement and a 0.088 acre temporary construction easement on property described in volume 283, page 334, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibits L and M. A 0.106 acre utility easement and a 0.103 acre temporary construction easement on property described in volume 667, page 502, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibits N and O. A 0.403 acre utility easement and a 0.210 acre temporary construction easement on property described in volume 1725, page 266, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibits P and Q. A 0.023 acre utility easement on property described in volume 2255, page 467, deed records of Parker County, Texas, more fully described in Exhibit R. For public use and construction and maintenance of reclaimed water pipeline from the water reclamation facility to Lake Weatherford, and I further move to adopt resolution number R 2019-26 as presented. The first record vote on this motion applies to all units of property to be condemned.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Robinson.
I make a second
Okay.
that we approve the resolution that specifically A.181 acre utility, no, I'm just kidding. Accurate.
Motion on the floor by Jeff Robinson is presented. There's a second stated verbally by Kevin Cleaver, Heidi Wilder Beach to the punch. Rick Schaefer, I believe you have comments.
I just want to make one clarification, just kind of following, I know it was a lot to read. On the fourth bullet point, just to clarify, it's a .038 acre utility easement.
Okay.
So,
A .038 acre utility easement.
Yeah, I think you said a 0 point, and I was going to mention that after he called for
Man, if
that.
that's the only mistake I made in all that, I feel good.
Mr. Zellers, are we good there?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor and a second. Just for the record, should you go ahead and restate those?
No.
Any further discussion on the item before we call for a vote on 12A? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote this time. Passes unanimously. Item 13, citizen comments on non-agenda items. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on this area? Please come forward at this time. Hearing none. Item 14 on the agenda is adjournment. Entertain a motion at this time. There's a motion on the floor by Heidi Wilder, second by Jeff Robinson, and we will call for a vote on this in just a moment. Indicate yea or nay at this time, please. Council is adjourned unanimously at 9 p.m. Thank you all for your service. Staff, thank you all too.